Hello everybody, my name is Rom Tahoe and welcome back to another video where today I am making a very bold claim in the fact that I believe Skyrim makes you forget who you are. Okay, so have you ever noticed that nobody plays Skyrim the way that they intend when they start? Like, we all start with a plan. This time I'm going to be a pure mage, but 10 hours later you're wearing heavy armor, carrying a warhammer, sneaking through caves, leading the Thieves Guild, and then you're also a werewolf for some reason. And the weird thing about that is nobody thinks that's strange. In fact, that's exactly how Skyrim wants us to play the game. The more I thought about it, the more I realized Skyrim isn't just a game about choosing an identity. I think it's a game about abandoning one. Okay, so stick with me for this next part. Imagine picking up your imaginary keyboard and mouse, right? Imagine loading into Skyrim and that feeling when you open a new world. It just feels so fresh and filled with promise. Now let your brain wander a bit and start to think about all the quests, the possibilities, the challenges, the need to do absolutely everything, to complete every quest, to talk to every NPC, just everything that the game has to offer, enjoying all of it. Think about the dragon that we've seen hundreds of times, setting us free from our Imperial captors, giving us the chance to make our escape from Helgen, to join the Stormcloaks or the Imperials, and obviously there's a right choice here. Whatever, I'm not gonna put my 2 cents in. But then we get to experience the first combat of the game, and that dopamine rush that we feel when we hear the bubble as we watch our armor go up, our one-handed go up, just watching our levels increase, and then the immediate loot lust when you see all the free shit on the ground, and even the gold on the body of the poor caged skeleton at the beginning of the game. Maybe the Imperials aren't so great. Anyway, does that make you feel like you want to play Skyrim again? If not, that's okay. I didn't do a good enough job putting it in your brain, but I've been on my 2-week phase because I wanted to play so bad. I believe Skyrim not only did a great job at that open world aspect, but in creating a world which you truly can be whoever or whatever you want to be. It creates an identity without restraint. And I think that's what Skyrim gives us. That, and it totally gives us a balanced gaming experience with absolutely no game-breaking bugs or anything of the such. Anyway, our identity can oftentimes be limited by society itself. Think about how many versions of yourself there are. There's a version of yourself at work, there's a version of yourself at home, a version of you with your friends, even when you're alone. I just realized that rhymed. Anyway, none of these are necessarily fake, but they're certainly constrained. We go through everyday life with rules that we have become so accustomed to that we abide without a second thought. Societal expectations play a big role in our identity, and it's kind of piloted by 3 main parts: social norms, values, and social roles. Social norms are how we behave in public, for example, saying bless you when someone sneezes, or holding the door for someone behind you. Values are your own rules that we set for ourselves, not acting on things that we're aware would make us feel guilty, i.e. stealing, hurting people, etc. Social roles are the identities we're expected to fulfill based on our position in society. When you're working at a cash register at a store, your job is to smile and greet the customer, maintain a positive attitude, all of that. I don't think just that, but I think on top of it, the actual setting you're in plays a huge part in this too. We often act pretty differently depending on where we are or whose company we're keeping. You wouldn't vape in front of your super strict parents as a teenager, right? But your friends who are alt and badass and do spray paint and all of that shit, that's different. You wouldn't care in that scenario. Our identities are usually defined by these three factors. But what happens when society doesn't get to play a role in our behaviors? Skyrim is a world that removes most of that structure. Almost any RPG you play asks for commitment, or like a specific class or specialization or role that you're supposed to keep through the whole game. Skyrim pretends to ask those questions, but it doesn't give a damn if you stick to them or not. The actions you take in Skyrim hold often little to no repercussions, and definitely no social repercussions. Even if you're really not liking the attitude that small child just gave you, and you happen to drop your warhammer on them, the worst you have to do is pay a small fee for murder. Oh no. Something that Skyrim creates inside of you, I think, is identity fluidity. And identity fluidity is pretty self-explanatory, but it removes that fixed or static state you're stuck in traditional life. Your character can change on a whim in Skyrim, evolving and shifting through different situations, different environments. Consistency is not only hard to achieve in Skyrim, but often impossible when you're trying to beat the game. In order to achieve your main goal as the Dragonborn, you often go to different places throughout the game. The College of Winterhold, you're learning stealth from the Thieves Guild, you're reinforcing your armor training with the companions, all these different places that you're going to. And you often contradict your own choices, and no one will punish you for that in this game, creating this kind of inconsequential freedom. When nothing is forcing you to be consistent, you naturally stop being static. As an extremely curious species, it's pretty stunting to walk one path throughout your lifetime. These bounds, when they're untied, we return to being interested in as much as we can learn about. We seek to grow our understanding of multiple subjects and don't have to feel the guilt of not filling out one specific social role. So what really is that psychological change that Skyrim causes? I personally believe it reduces the cost of identity switching. There's a social weight that comes with this switch in real life. Judgment, consequences, guilt. This invisible weight is lifted by a place where experimentation feels safe. It is our brains being set free in a world that is close enough to reality that we can truly get lost in that feeling of being fluid. I feel like that safety is pretty rare in our everyday lives. I feel we tend to slip into a trance while playing Skyrim. We spend so much time living our own identity that we've carefully constructed throughout our lives. Our clothing style, the way we appear to other people, all the way down to the way we talk, the way we laugh, the way we hold ourselves. All of this to appear a certain way in public or certain people. This almost makes your identity a mask to who you truly are. When you get to explore taboo aspects of yourself like you can in Skyrim, you truly get to know yourself. The thrill you get pickpocketing, the dopamine rush of following a Dark Brotherhood contract, even the pride of being a war hero. You can experience all of it in one Skyrim lifetime. And Skyrim rewards you for the more you complete, the more you explore who you are. Maybe that's why Skyrim remains so comforting after so long, not because it lets us escape and become someone else necessarily, but because it reminds us that we were never meant to be one thing to begin with. When I said at the beginning of this that I think Skyrim makes you forget who you are, I don't think that's entirely true. I think Skyrim makes you forget who you think you're supposed to be. Skyrim doesn't ask you to define who you are, so neither should you. It doesn't ask you to choose a path, it assumes you'll follow all of them. When you spend time labeling or adding roles to yourself, fitting the molds of societal expectations, you take away from your own experience of life. Humans are fluid, so don't be afraid to change your mind, contradict yourself, become somebody new, multi-class in life, because after all, if the Dragonborn can be an archmage, a thief, a warrior, a wife, a werewolf, and the savior of the world all before dinner, maybe you don't just have to be one thing either. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed. This is a shorter video of what I hope to do in the future, because the psychology behind games and how they make us feel is really interesting to me, so I'd love to continue making videos. And if that interests you too, feel free to subscribe and stick around. But until next time, have an absolutely amazing day. Thank you again. Bye.